This demonstration will also take advantage of the Keynote app, and because we're not resuming a previous step, we can go ahead and add a new document again just to illustrate what we're doing here and do a black theme. I double click to get that. You could have also relied upon the choose button. And we get the same basic theme. Notice the toolbar was retained from the previous step, from the previous video if you watched that. And that was my recommended toolbar. And then what we want to do in this tutorial, what we want to do in this demonstration, is show you how to establish the Columbus State brand guidelines colors. We're going to use a color palette. After we do that, we're going to establish how to create a basic background using the Edit Master Slide function. So to make the first step easier on us, to help build that color palette, I took a snapshot from the Columbus State website, the brand guidelines page, of the colors that we can use. Okay, and to do this, essentially what we're going to use is this hex color number. Okay, well, where do I want to put that in? I want to put that hex color number in under View, Show Colors. Okay, and you'll notice that there are a few different tabs essentially underneath the colors window. You have the color wheel, which you can use later on. You can move it around and get whatever color you might like. There's also the sliders, the color sliders option, and that's what we're going to use here to establish the color palette. Now you could put in the RGB. Okay, I found that it's a little quicker just to put in the hex color number. So the hex color number for this darker gray is 646569. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that in. 646569. Okay, again, that was the same number that I see right there. Okay, and tap return. Make sure you do this part. Tap return, tap enter, and notice in your little viewing window here, the color window here, it gives you that darker gray color precisely. Okay, now what you can do is do a left mouse click and hold, and then drag that over to one of the empty containers. Now the nice thing is, the moment you drag it here, maybe you open up a new presentation or you open up an old presentation, this is going to be there for you to use as the color of choice for a dark gray. Okay, now to illustrate that again, that was 646569. To illustrate that again, I'm going to do the second hex color number, and that's going to be A0, AC, AA. Make sure you tap return, and you're going to get that second gray color. Okay, grab it and bring it over to one of the empty containers. And essentially what you're doing is building what I've built that I've been using as I build my videos for the iBook. Essentially what you have is the 8 colors here, and you can continue to do that for all 8 of them. Okay, one quick note is that you can't delete these. You just kind of have to move them around. Okay, so you might move them over here because you don't want to use it anymore. You see that I've used some for some highlights or different things, and I've kind of put them there because I use them multiple times. But for our intents and purposes now, to keep this clean, to keep it organized, I can just drag the color that I've already established on top of it, and that goes away, and drag that one here, and it goes away too. Because you can't delete them, you can just move them around, unfortunately. So again, there's our 8 colors that we can use anytime I'm formatting something. Okay, whether it's a shape, whether it's a text box, a certain text, the boundaries of an image, perhaps the line around an image. Anytime you see, just to illustrate this, maybe here's an image. I drag that in, right? Maybe I want to add a border to that for whatever reason. Okay, there's your border. Anytime you see now this color wheel, you can tap that, and you're going to get that color palette available to you. You're going to do that in this presentation. You can do that in a future presentation as well. Anytime you format using this color wheel, you're going to get these options, okay, which is a really nice, in terms of workflow, really nice option to have available to you. So I'm not going to do anything with this. Let's go ahead and delete it. And before I show you the ability to create a background using the Edit Master Slide function, I want you to double check one thing for yourself. Underneath Document, the slide size, make sure it says Standard 4:3, okay? And what that is actually, if I go to here just to illustrate it, it is 1024 by 768. Okay, the reason we want that, 1024 by 768, is when we eventually make this into the visual component of our video, we want it to take full advantage of the real estate on an iPad, because primarily the iBook will be consumed on an iPad. You can consume it on other devices, but primarily it'll be on an iPad. So make sure that before we go any further, before you go further on a presentation, this is default, it should be here, but just double check it that you haven't changed this in some other step or some other file, okay? So that's how that's going to happen. Underneath format, so I'm going back under format here. Nothing is selected, okay? And to illustrate something, what I want to do is add a slide. Go over here, add slide, and I want to add a blank slide. And I can actually delete this one that has the title options, the text boxes here, the default. So right now I have a blank slide, and you have different options of master slides. This just happens to be right now the blank one. So I know I'm looking at the entire slide. Real quick, do a zoom out, and that can be a 2-finger pinch. Okay, so all I did was put 2 fingers on the trackpad. I don't like to use a mouse. 2 fingers on the trackpad and bring them closer together for a pinch. That zooms out. If I spread my 2 fingers, as I am right now, you're zooming back in. If you don't like to do that, if you don't like the trackpad at first, okay, it becomes really efficient once you get going here, but you can also do a view zoom function as well. Zoom in and zoom out. Okay, there's also a command keystroke if you prefer that as well. But those keystrokes are, if I'm using my left hand, they're too far away. If you happen to be using your right hand, it's okay. But I typically do the stroke, okay, or the pinch or the spread. Now, that's just so I can make sure I see the entire slide here, okay? What I want to do, because I've shown you what the blank slide looks like, it's just black, there's nothing on it, okay? Go to Edit Master Slide now. And what we're going to do is edit that blank slide. We're going to make this the master, that any time from this point forward that we add a new slide blank, you're going to get not a blank slide, but not a black slide, but whatever we create right now. And so you know you're editing the blank master slide if you have the blue line down here at the bottom. Okay? And what I want to do is show you how I've done it in a couple of things that I do. Nothing's on the slide, nothing's selected, so I'm modifying the background. And the first thing I do is do a gradient fill. And notice it's going to gradient, it's going to transition from top to bottom, and that's fine. Okay? You can do this however you'd like, but this is just the way that I've done it in the past. And I like to take advantage of the gray, because you'll see what this will be in here in a second. The top, we'll do the second gray, and the bottom, we're going to do that third gray, which is a 10% tint. Notice what I did there is I just selected the color wheel. That's for the top one there. This is default until you start messing with things. And then the bottom color wheel for the bottom color. Okay, and that's all I'm going to do for the background. Next, what you can do, okay, what you can do next is bring in a shape. Okay, and I can use a basic box. And I'm going to stretch this shape so that I get sort of a title area. Okay, and right now it's got this default advanced image fill. I want a basic color fill. So again, I know I haven't gone through all the formatting options, but really just make sure you're under, it's pretty much default. Once you select the object to be format style, go under the fill and do a color fill. And we're going to take advantage of, I like to use the second blue color. Okay, make sure you select the color wheel and do a second blue color. Okay, and what you can do then is just take that, select it, do a copy and a paste. So if you want to do copy and paste, I'm going to use the shortcut keys here. But there's a Command C for copy and a Command V for paste, and then move that down. Now I have a baseline as well. And you're going to say, well, there's some overlap here. I actually like the overlap. You're going to see that it doesn't matter once I stop editing the master slide. But I like the overlap so that I know this color is touching every bit of that edge. Okay, every bit of that edge. That overlap is good. Okay, if you try and match it directly, you might miss a little bit. Okay, so right now I have a title area. I have a baseline. All I have to do is hit done. And now you'll notice that all the overlap goes away. I have a nice place for the title. Eventually we'll put a text box there. I like to control essentially with the text box and where it's at, and then also the nice baseline here. Okay. In a future video, I'll showcase the fact that this baseline is more for aesthetics, because I'm actually going to have a caption. So when we go ahead and close caption this, if I put the caption down here at the bottom, this is essentially going to be sort of wasted space regardless. So this is more of an aesthetics thing. I've got a top and I have a bottom as well. Okay. So in this instructional tutorial, essentially what we did was build the color palette so that anytime you're editing, or better said, anytime you're formatting, whatever it might be, okay, it could be a new image, okay, format, style, anytime you see the color wheel, whether it's a fill or a border or a shadow, see the color fill, you can tap that and you can adjust it and get your 8 colors according to the brand guidelines on the website. The second thing we did, again, was to build a background using the Edit Master Slide function. And my preference, again, was to modify the blank one because I'm going to add my own bullets wherever I want them. I'm going to add my own title wherever I want it. It doesn't change very often, but still I like to have that freedom to put it wherever I want it. And we'll show you in a later video, you can definitely still pinpoint precisely where it's located. So there's your blank. Okay, we modified a blank slide, hit done. And so now anytime I add a new slide, you see that now that we have an option. You can add another one of those. And also just a quick shortcut. You can, if you're selecting this slide over here, do a Command-C for copy, a Command-V for paste, and you're going to get it a little bit easier that way as well. I find that I do that a lot. So again, two things: establish the color palette and build a background. Experiment with what you need, but this takes advantage of the Columbus State colors, and it's been working pretty well for me.